Treva.
And Lynn.
Your podcast ladies of the century.
Hey.
Today we are going to discuss the adaptation of Doolittle.
Yeah.
Dr. Doolittle, Dr. Doolittle 1, and Dr. Doolittle 2. All in one big party. Y'all ready?
So the book is Dr. Doolittle, but the 3 movies have 3 different titles?
Correct. Well, So to be honest with you, Dr. Doolittle was originally written in 1920.
Oh, wow.
It was like the stories of Dr. Doolittle, right?
The voyage, the quests, all those.
Yes. Then, in 1967, we had our first big movie, right?
Duh.
The writer of that movie was Hugh Lofting. The director was Richard Fletcher. Fletcher. And Dr. Doolittle was Rex Harrington. You all know Rex Harrington.
So who wrote the book, though?
Hugh Lofting.
Oh, so Hugh wrote the original Voyages of Dr. Doolittle stories. Okay, so he was responsible for writing the first 1967 movie then.
Right.
All of them, really.
Well, he wrote the book, but the movie was directed by Richard Fletcher, and the screenplay was by Leslie. I think it's called Bikusi. Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, all right. That's where I was getting confused.
So we can start with that one.
Okay.
And then we can move on to 98 through 2001, where Eddie Murphy took over.
Okay.
And then on to Robert Downey Jr. in 2020.
Sounds good.
Break it down, y'all.
That's good. Thanks, Rhea. So I just didn't realize it prior to us reading the stories that it was so many little stories that all made up this whole big storyline of Dr. Doolittle.
Neither did I.
So I actually enjoyed reading the different adventures of Dr. Doolittle. I mean, some of them were kind of crazy and then some of them were funny. But it definitely made me have a flashback to my childhood.
It did. It took me back to the original 1967 version of Dr. Doolittle. Do I have some food in my mouth?
That
or
was
is it my drink?
You got the echo from the cup.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put my drink down. Hold on. Okay. The
Nice and
1960. What are we drinking, Lynn?
Oh! No, we didn't finish half the bottle now. Well, we are drinking Wolfer Estate. Their rosé table wine is from Long Island, New York. We decided to try it out because we were recently in New York and we got some recommendations. So we tried it and there's nothing left. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually really tasty. I love it. Long Island in the house.
Yeah. Good thing we got 2.
There's 2? What? Made my day.
Sorry.
You tried to hold out on me, weren't you?
So, getting back to my story of when I was a youngin' and the 1967 movie. I remember when we were talking about doing this and all I could remember was the snail.
Yeah,
I swear it was so realistic back then. Right? Like, I actually could imagine myself getting in that snail and going underwater.
I wanted a pink snail house too.
Yeah, so I forgot all about the snail until I was reading the story, and I was like, oh, that's right, the snail. And then I had all these flashbacks of this 1967 movie. And you're right, everything about the movie, from the snail to the whale to everything, I remember it being so realistic.
Yeah.
So I watched it recently too, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
It still looked realistic to me.
I mean, I like the movie, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't know about the Africans in the movie. I mean,
we're not even going to talk about that. I'm not going there.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, y'all can talk about it.
But you saw who the star was, like the king of whatever his name was. I can't even think of his name.
He was the guy from Annie.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, he was Punjab from Annie. So he was Indian, he was African. I think the guy was actually just black.
Yeah, true. Any type of, black straight up and down role he got.
Yeah. But made a lot of money though.
He sure did.
What I forgot was that it was a musical. So as we were watching, I literally was singing out loud, "Walk and talk with the animals." Loved every bit of that part.
Really?
Hit my vocal notes.
Well, as being one in theater.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I knew that. I think that, we may have done a version of one of his stories in middle school or something like that. I can't remember. Take me back to
Okay, so anyway.
Because it didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I can't remember with all the stuff that blurs me.
But somebody brought up all the little African kids in their underwear running around while all the other people in the story had on full clothing.
Well, in those days, that's what they thought Africans did. That's how they depicted our people. And it's okay because we've moved on and learned.
Similar to Tarzan.
Hey.
All the Africans lived in the jungle for forever, but Tarzan's the only one that can come in and talk to the
So
animals.
anyway, getting back to Dr. Doolittle,
Yeah.
loved the book. The book was so detailed. I actually love. See, I love that because first of all, I love,
the creativity
of it.
Help you envision it.
Yeah, I really could. And then I didn't remember how different like the book and the movie was for the 1967. Like they did touch on the different stories, but they just weren't necessarily in the same order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like the fact that they did touch on the stories, like everything else. Most of the things that you saw in the 1967 version was bits and pieces of the different adventures. So I did enjoy that. I don't like that they changed the storyline, that it ended up being about this woman joining them on that adventure. And so it kind of ended up being a lot about how she was going to work out at sea, because that wasn't in the book. And the book was really mostly focused on the little boy learning how to talk to the animals, and Dr. Doolittle being his mentor.
Yeah.
And he was the apprentice. So I like that in the Robert Downey Jr. version, because they brought the little kid in there being sort of the apprentice in his version. So
Yeah,
I think they missed the beat with
Emma took over in 67. I'm like, what the heck does this have to do with Dr. Doolittle? Like, why is she following around and stuff like a freaking puppy?
And then I couldn't tell whether she was supposed to be in love with him or the little boy, the man who was kind of with the little boy was supposed to be in love with her. And
His
that part
tight
was,
wool pants.
oh my gosh. And then who was he to the little boy? Like, I don't understand
Just a
the little
neighbor
boy's
down the
role.
street. Just a neighbor down the street.
That just said, hey, little boy, come with me and go on adventures with me and Dr. Doolittle.
Yep.
And then I was mad because I also didn't remember the difference in... I remember Dr. Doolittle getting into the snail and going down underwater, and then he could see.
I thought I
the
remembered
snail.
that also.
Yeah, that's with the book. And I don't know what happened. I envisioned that in the movie, but really that didn't happen in the movie. He didn't even leave in the snail in the movie. He left with the big moth, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy about the movie is that I always thought it was,
Real.
no, I thought the lead actor, the guy, Rex Harrington, I don't remember him playing Dr. Doolittle at all from my childhood. I thought it was the Candy Factory guy.
Gene Wilder.
Really?
I thought it was Gene Wilder. For the longest, I thought it was Gene Wilder that played Dr. Doolittle. So I saw it, I was like, did he always play? Does Rex Harrington always play?
Yes.
It's all confusing to me.
It's because those were the times, those
Yeah.
were the most popular movies back then. So anything else we want to discuss about the movie to the 1967 version?
No, because I didn't see that. When I Googled it or looked up the movies, I know I've already seen the Eddie Murphy versions. I didn't even know it was a 1967 version. I've never seen it in my life.
Really?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, so we're going to move on to
All right.
Eddie Murphy's versions.
I'm sitting here like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never seen
We've
that.
had this discussion.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
In like text.
In the text to tell you where to go watch it so that
Yes.
you'd be prepared for this podcast
did
today.
not.
So now we're moving to 1998 through 2001, and these are the Eddie Murphy versions.
Okay, so the Eddie Murphy version of Dr. Doolittle drove me crazy because Eddie Murphy was just this doctor that could magically talk to animals.
Although we love Eddie now.
I love Eddie. And actually, let's be clear about that. I love Eddie, and I actually love Dr. Doolittle with Eddie Murphy. I love Dr. Doolittle with Eddie Murphy Part 2, and I love the Part 3 where it was just Kyle Pratt talking to the animals. So I do love that series. I just wish it wasn't called Dr. Doolittle because it really didn't mirror the Dr. Doolittle Adventures storyline.
Right.
Because there were no adventures, and he didn't learn and study the animals. He just magically talked to them.
Yeah, all his life. Yeah, just been able to, person that talks to animals.
Yeah, so, because in the books it showed that he, Dr. Doolittle studied the animals and he learned how to talk to them. So
He studied and spent time and research
Exactly.
to find all these different languages and how the different dialects are between each bird or each fish.
I didn't get in the Eddie Murphy versions of Dr. Doolittle that he was speaking in their language. It was all English.
That was disappointing that there's none of that in there.
Yeah. But again, love the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be a separate entity.
Right.
Yes.
Not part of the Dr.
Exactly.
Doolittle franchise. Okay, so now to Doolittle.
2020. 2020. Do you notice that Dr. Doolittle was actually originally written in 1920? This Dr. Doolittle, 2020. Just wanted to let you know.
Wow. It's like 100 years later.
I can only stand with one hand.
That's pretty cool. So
That's a fun fact I found.
thanks for that random fact. All right, so let's talk about the Robert Downey Jr. version. I loved it. I loved him playing Dr. Doolittle. I think that casting was perfect. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that it was full of adventures.
Yes. And experiences.
I love that part of it. However, I honestly wish it was a remake. Remember we talked about this. I wish it was a remake of Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see the original Dr. Doolittle in 2020. Okay,
Right.
can somebody just do what I asked them to do? I want to see a better animated snail.
I would have loved to have seen this.
The Africans look like real Africans. I want to see the turtle. Like, I want to see these things. Try it again.
So I agree. I wish they would have picked adventures from the book because I feel like
Right.
they created an adventure for this movie that didn't exist in the original Dr. Doolittle.
Well, and he's
story.
also older because remember he had already lost his wife by this time.
So it was like a future adventure.
Yeah, it was he was actually supposed to be, even though the original Dr. Doolittle was older than him anyway, it was really an older version of Dr. Doolittle.
Oh, I see.
So maybe it was supposed to be a new adventure then.
So it had to be.
Yeah, it
a
would
new
have been a new
adventure.
adventure.
It would have been a new adventure if it was okay. So it makes sense, but because of the way that it ended and because of how popular I believe this movie was, I think we'll probably have some more Dr. Doolittles to come.
I hope we do, and I
agree.
hope they go backwards and do Dr. Doolittle, similar to how they did Lion King 1.5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bring us back to where we started, and then keep going.
Because we need to see
my
this
favorite
now.
Lion King is Lion King 1.5. I'm not even gonna
Seen
lie.
that. I'm such a fan of
What?
Lion King. I haven't even. I have
How can you really be that much of a fan?
Because I can't bring myself to watch anything other than Lion King.
It's Timon and Pumbaa's view of everything, which makes it like even
So
better.
I have to watch it.
So
Anyways.
yeah, I do
Back
hope
to
they, I do
Doolittle.
hope they continue with this because I think it's really good. I think that for the children of today, this is something they're missing. You know, I think
The
adventure and imagination.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons why when I was in the movie theater, like, it was, 90% kids. Mm-hmm. This one lady brought like 8 of her grandkids in there, and I was talking to her about it, and she was just
I
saying
think they were
how
all her kids.
it might have been. I don't know, because there was a whole starting lineup of them. It's a couple on the bench. But she was talking about how excited she was just to enjoy this movie. It's something that she remembered from her childhood,
Yes.
and now they have it in their childhood
Yes.
too. So she was saying that, like, you know, I had this planned out for to go see it on a certain day with all my grandkids, and she was super excited. I ended up giving her my seat because her seat was further away from her grandkids, and she was like, I don't know how they're gonna act. I was like, yeah, you go ahead closer. You can have my seat.
I'm gonna take yours. Right?
And honestly, I don't know how many kids in certain neighborhoods will be able to see this, but this could be one of those ones that we kind of give them a summary or somehow bring them into the old Dr. Doolittle and then go to see this one.
Yeah. Well, it's just a matter of reading the Avengers because
Yeah.
they're so short. You can read those really quickly.
Yes.
You know, in a group setting. But I agree with the whole imagination piece because we just don't have a lot of that
No.
imagination
We either
in films anymore.
we either have video games or we have animation, which is very different than imagining you as a human with you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know,
or just the adventures that he's going on
yeah.
to imagine those.
Different countries, different
Learning about
experiences,
what
different
things,
cultures,
yes.
and accepting all the cultures for what they are, because you can learn something from each one of them.
Absolutely.
And that gives a totally different aspect also.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great diversity lesson in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even just interaction with the animals and appreciating all their gifts. I'm sorry, Champagne, you were going to
No,
say
just
something.
like I'd like to give a special recognition to the CGI because this was perfect.
Oh, the CGI was
CGI
great.
was amazing.
Yeah.
I was a little upset on some of it.
Why?
It gave me a headache and some.
Really? I loved it. The whale? I love
Well, the whale was outstanding.
Yeah.
So that was brought back from the old one.
Yes.
So that was kind of a
Yes.
piece of what he experienced in the past. And I love the polar bear. Oh my gosh.
I love the
Well, I
polar
mean-
bear.
John Cena.
Well,
I mean, what else can you say?
He was too cold.
Right? It
cracked me up.
I have his like little.
sitting by the
I
fire.
have his
Action figure at work.
oh,
I'm not a big John Cena. I am. I'm sorry, Stone Cold, Rock.
Yeah, I like all them.
But he came into play after The Rock.
Yeah.
And they tried to be The Rock. So
I don't necessarily think he wants to be The Rock. Okay, nobody wants to be The Rock.
He did. He wanted to take his
Except
title.
for many husbands, probably, but no one else wants to be The Rock. You
His
know what I
cousin
mean?
does.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
Yes.
okay.
Sorry,
So back to the movie.
because he wasn't even the only person in the movie. Okay. First of all, Robert Downey Jr. outstanding.
1000%.
Okay, Dab, Octavia Spencer was the cutest little.
Well,
Wait,
it's
she-
so interesting because I was trying to pick up on that voice. Champagne and I were sitting next to
Yeah.
each other, and I was like, I know that voice.
It's like I can't
and I could
place
not place
who
the
it
voice.
is.
And then when it came up, I was like, oh, I should have known that.
The sarcasm behind the things that she was saying, cracking up. When she said that she had duck bumps
Yes.
instead of goosebumps, I cracked out like that. I was like, oh, no one else laughing? No? Okay, it's just me.
Wait, how about Squirrel Fleming?
Craig David is, I mean, Craig Robertson, sorry. Okay, stop there.
Fill me in. Craig David. Okay.
Throwback to the 90s.
Right.
Let's bring it back to Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson
Excellent.
was absolutely amazing.
He's coming back to finish the job!
I like,
Cracking up.
what did he say? Captain's log. The killer is moving forward, and I was like, this guy is hilarious.
He was
Why is everybody so calm right now? I was cracking
He was
up.
really funny. And how about Emma Thompson as Polly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Polly.
She was cute.
Polly had a cute personality also, yeah.
One of
It
the
really
good-
fit her perfectly.
One of the things that I loved was not just the character that Emma Thompson was, but Polynesia or Polly. In the book and in the first movie in 1967, they had mentioned how Polynesia is like one of the most brightest and smartest animals in linguistics. Sorry, get the word out. And how she speaks over like 200 languages. And when she flew into the bedroom of Stubbins, well, with the help of a giraffe, she said, he's like, oh, I can understand you. And she said, no, I'm speaking human, but I can speak hundreds of languages. And so that part that I'm glad that they kind of touched on, like how bright she was in this one, because it kind of missed in others. But not that it helps with the character, but I do like that point of Polynesia. She's my favorite.
And
Don't
then,
forget about Chi-Chi.
yeah,
Abe.
Chi-Chi was a good
Rami
sucker.
Malik, I love you. Just want to point that out.
But to have that big old ape scared of
Yes,
everything,
adorable.
oh my gosh, it was so cute. He was like,
He
I
showed
showed
up
you.
he showed up on time when he needed to, though.
And little old Selena Gomez in her role as the giraffe Betsy.
I like the giraffe. The giraffe had to run and
I
get
didn't
the
say there
little
was
boy on
anything
the
wrong
boat.
with it. I'm just like, okay.
So I loved in the Robert Downey Jr. version of this movie that they had the little boy. What was his name?
Tommy Snubbins.
Snubbins was back in the movie.
Stubbins. That's
Stubbins.
snubbing people.
Oh, Stubbins.
Harry Collette.
He was back in the movie as the apprentice,
Yes.
and they showed him learning the
Yes.
language, which is really interesting because if this was a futuristic view, that would have already taken place. So anyway, they mixed and mingled some of the
yeah, they
storyline.
did.
But I did like the fact that he at least had the apprentice there helping him out.
Right.
And then,
learning.
what about the dog, Jip?
I love his little glasses. When he like went to go smell, he was like, let me put on my glasses. Even though it was his nose that was doing the job. But that part was really cute.
But the CGI on him was perfect. It was like, it was amazing.
He was cute. And what was the little
dragonfly.
stick figure?
I
was on the
write down
picture.
the stick figure's name.
I mean, I guess he didn't have a voice.
He didn't
Right,
have the voice,
yeah.
But that was cute. But the
He was like,
dragonfly
so you
was
know we had a
hilarious.
spy here the whole time. Oh, and the octopus that snitched.
Oh my god.
Hilarious.
Get stitches, man.
He's like, all right, I'll tell you. But yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce this other guy's name. Jason. Sorry, Jason, but you were the Dragonfly, James Dragonfly.
Oh, the
Because
Dragonfly
he was hilarious.
caught
too.
up in
Yes.
love. Wait
Oh
a
my
minute,
God,
what you
he's
mean
so
they're getting
in love.
married? What you mean?
Wasn't that good enough?
That was
When she got to, and then we was talking to the dragon, he was like, one dragon to another. Right? The dragon was like, whoosh.
Just blew his nose. Like, get away.
It was
Burnt him up.
a very cute rendition.
It
So
really
that
was.
one, did we even talk about who directed that and everything? Directed by
I don't
Steven?
remember that.
What is that, Gaggin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Produced by Susan Downey and Joe Roth. I mean, I really thought it was good, though.
It really was.
They
It
did
was
a good job.
very
I
comical.
liked how it was comical for adults, but
Yes.
also comical for kids.
Yeah.
Or something that you both enjoy at the same time.
It's interesting because I didn't go. Normally, when these types of movies, I go and read the parent rating to see if it's too much inappropriate stuff for kids. But I didn't do that, and it was fine. I mean, it was all right. I'm sure there'll have some people that are kind of gonna go crazy off of some of the innuendos, but
I mean, other than
I thought
the
it was great.
James, the dragonfly, I don't remember any.
no, they
really.
kicked the guy in the crotch, and they did a few
Oh, yeah.
inappropriate things.
The tiger, not the guy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tiger.
Kick him down low.
But yeah, it was good. It was a really, really
Haters
good.
gonna hate.
They are.
And
It's
stitches to get stitches too.
Right.
Oh, so
Bitches
good.
get stitches, man. Yeah, that was funny.
so. Are we ready to rate?
Yes.
So
I think we should
How
rate
are we
just
rating
this one.
this?
I think we really just need to. We've already
Rate
kind of
it
talked about
2020.
Dr. Doolittle 1, 2,
we know that one gets
Yeah.
sip.
Yeah.
But like let's
Alrighty then.
Well,
Let's take a sip to that.
So are you rating the 1967 version or just going how this new one is compared to
Maybe this is new one.
Yeah, let's just do the
that's
new one.
fine.
67, we already said was great too. It just changed the story, some, put them out of order, but they really kind of stayed true.
Okay.
Yeah.
We cut it out.
Okay, so now Doolittle, and I mean just Doolittle. The inside joke here. These people like to play games with my mind. And when we are going to have a podcast, we typically write down all of the cast and the director. We get all our facts straight. And I wrote Dr. Doolittle 2020 on the board. And Lynn said, no, Rhea, it's not Dr. Doolittle, it's just Doolittle. And I'm thinking, I don't remember that being in the title. But anyway, I wrote it down. Just Doolittle. They all found that so comical that I wrote the word just.
We were like, no, Rhea, it's Dr. Doolittle as in 1967 version and Doolittle.
Blah, blah, blah.
Not just Doolittle.
It's a Hotel
2020.
Transylvania. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, we had Just Mercy, we got Just Doolittle,
So she
we
kinda
having like
stuck
Just
with
Turning
it,
going
yeah.
up too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, this is Rhea.
Wyatt can't get right. What you vote?
Well, anyway. I'm going to give it a full glass. I'm giving it a full glass because I absolutely loved it. It had absolutely nothing to do with Dr. Little. Had nothing to do with
Just Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a full glass because they called it Doolittle, not Dr. Doolittle. So they kind of already set us up to know it's really not Dr. Doolittle. Just talked about Dr. Doolittle. Full glass for me, Robert Downey Jr. If you need a handmaid.
So where's that wrap it up button?
Champagne, what you say? All right.
I was gonna say call in. I mean,
Go ahead, Champagne.
Anyway, because I'm going to look at this as a continuation of the stories of Dr. Little.
that you didn't even know
Dr. who?
existed.
Doolittle.
Dr. Little. Dr. Little.
Just Doolittle.
I hate you. All of it. Oh, God. I love the movie, so I'm going to give it a long day, unfortunately, because it had nothing to do with Dr. Doolittle. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Wings.
So I am going to give this a half a glass.
Raising her feelings.
But I loved the movie. So if you are a Robert Downey Jr. fan, you're gonna love this movie. It was a great movie. But when I look at the adaptation from the book that we read and the Adventures of Dr. Doolittle, they really didn't follow that storyline. So I'm gonna give it a half glass for the adaptation. But it was a great movie and it definitely brought back some nostalgia.
Full glass from Lynn, period.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we don't get a full bottle.
All right, we'll still finish this.
We've already finished this.
Wait, you can still finish it.
This is really good. What was the wine again,
yeah.
Lynn?
There is another bottle of it.
Yes.
I swear you were hiding it from me. Maybe. It's from the Wolfer Estate in Long Island, New York. It's the rosé table wine, and if we could like lick the bottle, we probably would because it's delicious.
Delicious.
Really, really good. Glad we picked it up when we were out in New York. Where were we at? Where did we eat? And that person suggested that we go to the wine place. I forgot
Mustang Harry.
Yes. Thank you, Mustang Harry's. I forgot our waiter's name.
Delicious food. by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Horseradish and all.
Yes.
Yum, yum.
So yeah, we winded this one up. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe and follow us on
Read, Watch, Wine on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
On everything, on everything.
Put that on everything.
Everything.
Bye.
Bye. We're just getting into it.